Really, it's more about making sure that people understand what it's going to take to be out in a rural area. So it's just those little things that are just different about living in the country. Yep, it's great. You don't have neighbors, or you may not have very many neighbors, but then you also don't have neighbors who maybe are keeping an eye on your property when you're gone on vacation. I mean, it's just understanding those pieces of, yes, I have my idyllic lifestyle, I have my slice of heaven, but the trade-off is, I might have to drive 30, 40 minutes to get groceries. I may have to drive, to get to the doctor. Rural is tough because it is more of a feeling. I think it depends on the individual, because I do think it is different for everybody. What they're envisioning, is it that idyllic lifestyle, the old 4-square white picket fence house on 10 acres, red barn in the background, or is it maybe it's their geodesic dome home, or it's their log cabin. When I think rural, I think of my parents and growing up on a dairy farm. But then as I've done more and been more involved in different aspects of rural, rural is, really that's your slice of heaven, you might say, your dream. If you want to live out on 3 acres and just have more space than what you would in town on a standard 1/4 acre lot, that's rural to you. Or it might be somebody wants 10 acres or 20 acres. Some of the things we talk about, some people want to have what we call maybe like a family compound. They want to have 20, 40 acres and have grandma and grandpa in one house, mom and dad in another, and son and daughter-in-law in another house, and really, utilizing the land in the best way that they know how, and really making those ties important. When you decide to live in a rural area, you have to understand that you likely are going to have your own well, your own septic. That's different. You may turn the water on and something may not come out. You don't get to call the city office in the city water department and say, hey, my faucet isn't running. That's on you, and you have to figure out what's going on. It's no different than in the winter and you've got a 3/4 mile driveway. You may get your driveway plowed out, but the township or the county plow may not come by for 4 more hours. And same, I would say, with emergency services. You're away from a city and the city center. It's going to take longer for, ambulance, fire department. I mean, it's just understanding those pieces of, yes, I have my idyllic lifestyle, I have my slice of heaven, but the trade-off is, I might have to drive 30, 40 minutes to get groceries. I may have to drive, to get to the doctor, and have more of a commute if that's what I choose, if I'm not able to work remote from home. Just those little things that go on or maybe don't go on in a rural area that do in a more urban or suburban setting. So with Compeer Home, we're very focused on that rural piece, the piece of lending, home lending, recreational land lending, that other lenders maybe aren't as versed in, maybe don't want to deal with the uniqueness of being in a rural setting. We're in that far end of the spectrum of, hey, we're maybe on the fringes of farming, we're maybe a farmer light, a part-time farmer, or like I said, we just want to be in a rural setting. We want, cleaner air, cleaner water, whatever people might have in their mind around that rural setting. That's the space that we really play into and really focus on it to ensure, again, that we've got vibrant rural communities, rural areas for, and when we think about all of the options within rural communities, those employers, they need housing for people, or even if you're outside of a larger area, but you're willing to commute in. It's just having all of the options for housing, whether that's in town, whether that's on a lake or in the woods or on your 40 acres, whatever it might be. So they're doing their homework, they're working with a realtor, they're looking at Zillow. We can help people think through that. If they're maybe looking for somebody who has special skills or special understandings of rural, we have those networks. We have those people that we can say, hey, if you're really looking to be in rural northern Wisconsin, here are some people that we may know. Then we can help them understand, hey, what are the local zoning ordinances? What are you going to need to have, if you have a 3/4 of a mile driveway? What do you need to be thinking about, if you want to have livestock, if you want to grow crops? What is that going to take? We have other I would say, experts then within Compeer Financial, where, you know what, if you're looking at needing a tractor, we can make sure that we connect you with the right resource, the right financial officer, so that they can help as well. But it really is more when you're looking for that property. We have resources, we have the understanding, and we can just help guide people through that process. So what is it going to take, and where are they? Are they at the very beginning and they just know they want to do something, or are they further into the process and they need us to help, figure out what can they be approved for, what are they going to need for a down payment, those types of things. But that's really where Compeer Home plays, is that far end of the borrower spectrum, that rural housing, that space out in the country. That's our sweet spot. That's our bread and butter.